Mummy and Daddy Schumacher are going to be very proud of their two boys on the front row of the grid.
Brotherly love up front in Brazil. It's Formula One's only race day in South America. The Interlagos circuit above Sao Paulo is a 70,000 sellout, and those fans have come to party. Brazil just loves its Grand Prix weekend. The Paulista, the locals, surrounded the circuit well before dawn. Interlagos itself has many rough edges, but there's a rawness and a passion here that is absolutely compelling. Sao Paulo's Ayrton Senna country. He was the last Brazilian to win here. Today, there are 4 in the race, headed by Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari. Hello there, good afternoon to you all. Welcome to the ITV trackside studio. The forecasters have been telling us it's going to rain. No sign of that at all at the moment, and it is 29 degrees, the hottest it has been all weekend. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. I know you're going to enjoy the experience. Joining me today, Mark Blundell. Nice to see you again, Mark. You've driven here many times, I know. And Tony Jardine, a regular expert. Now, Tony, how about the Schumacher brothers on the front row?
Well, there is a lot of love between them, as you said. I mean, Michael, at sort of 32 years of age, always puts his arm around little 25-year-old brother. It's like my big brother Dick. I know what it feels like. He says, you know, I blazed a path for you. Exactly. He feels, Michael, that he was always spoiled as a little kid. That is Ralph. But their parents' heartbeat will go up. How that affects them in the first corner. They said, we know each other well enough. We're not going to crash.
I'm interested in what's going to happen at the very start with the two of them side by side.
Well, it's interesting because Ralph Schumacher's actually on the race line, so he's got the extra grip. But there again, you know, if he makes a good start, it's going to be first into turn 1, but Michael's got turn 2, which is the all-important one. But let's see whether the brotherly love's there. I'm interested to find out.
It'll be fascinating to see. Right behind them in the other Williams, Juan Pablo Montoya. This despite a really awkward spin in qualifying.
Yeah, awkward spin in qualifying, but, you know, nothing for this guy. I mean, remember, this guy used to doing 240 miles an hour on ovals and hitting concrete. Look at this. He loses the rear end, a little snap out of the line, a few bumps. Small knock, nothing. He'll shun that off. It won't be anything. He won't even waste any sleep over it.
Yeah, and after that he dashed out, got in the spare and qualified on the second row. But Michael Schumacher, quickest man again here, the only man in the 1:13s in qualifying.
Well, he is breaking records again now, isn't he? I mean, 35th pole position of his career. He says there's more to come from this Ferrari, another step yet to come from the chassis, more from the engine all throughout the season. That's frightening for the competitors as they head towards Europe and back to Italy in their own base. Just a very relaxed performance in the final few minutes from Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, let's go back to Ralph, the best qualifying performance of his life. What's it like being up there up front for the very first time?
Well, it's a big deal. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A lot of pressure because, you know, Williams, BMW, mentioned, they're all coming together now. And if you equate that, he's probably got about $10 million riding on his shoulders now for this front row position, and all eyes are on him. But I think he will deliver. I think he's going to be consistent, but watch the young boy Montoya. He's coming through.
Is there any way, just briefly, the Schumachers could collude in any way at the start there?
I don't think so. I think there may be some love there, but there's also a competitive edge, and I think brotherly love will run out by turn 1.
Okay, Mark, thanks very much indeed. Okay then, Tony, just chat us through the grid, could you?
Well, Michael Schumacher in 9 attempts, first Brazilian pole for him, and alongside him the brothers. But, I mean, will it be the brothers grim at the end of the day, or will it be happy families? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Hakkinen in 3rd place, happy with improvements so far. Montoya did very well in that spare car. He said it felt very different indeed. Coulthard happy with the balance of his car, but Rubinho down in 6th place. 1/10 only between 2nd place Schumacher and down to him, suffering from understeer. 2 Jordans together, they were 3rd and 4th last year. And now the Sauber babes, they're out of the crash, they're not crawling, they're running, doing extremely well indeed. And the BAL Hondas together, Villeneuve and Panis. Problems with the tyres, said Villeneuve didn't get it together properly. But Bertie, the Brazilian, in his first race, pushing Irvine just 1/10 of a second behind him. Then Benaldi, the other Brazilian, Alesi alongside him. Then Verstappen, Fisichella 2-1 in the qualifying wars against Jenson Button. Jenson Button preserving his car in the warm-up, only doing 4 laps. Right at the back there, we've got Mazzacane and Marquez, but Michael Schumacher on pole again.
We knew we can be up front. I mean, we were not too concerned about the times of yesterday and even this morning. We were progressively working our car to the final spot of qualifying, and things have worked out, but we knew it would be tight.
I could have gone quicker, but didn't put it together simply because our car is a bit difficult to drive, especially here, so it's really difficult to get the lap together, but it was quick enough to be second. A little further away than we were in Malaysia, I guess, but we'll see how it is tomorrow.
I'm quite optimistic, you know, and the team has done a lot of work. in all the areas in a car, and they know we have some problems what we need to be solved. And again, this was the race when we showed definitely improvement in the performance.
First time, of course, on the front row with your brother. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I hope that I have a good start and that I'll be first in the first corner. We'll see.
Well, talking about that dash to the first corner, just a reminder, the Brazilian Grand Prix is off at 6 o'clock, your time just over half an hour. Let me just remind you of the standings. 10 points for a win. They've had a couple of races so far. Michael Schumacher's winning streak dates back to Belgium at the end of August. David Coulthard was 30 last week. He's tied on second place with Barrichello, and Rubens Barrichello is aching to win in his home city. But his Ferrari colleague has spanked his rivals with 6 of the best since Spa.
Tifosi and the Ferraristas see Michael Schumacher win at Monza and Italy.
Amazing stuff. Let's just underline the triple world champions' achievements for you. 7 successive poles, and he's approaching Ayrton Senna's record. 6 wins in a row. Ascari did 9 back in the 50s. All those wins are from pole, and that is a record. Okay, he's the best driver at the moment. Ferrari has the best car. Now, his employers wince every time he plays football, but the German, his own man, stopped off at the Maracanã. Ronaldo playing, as you can see in that picture, the Maracanã in Rio, en route to Sao Paulo here. The match in aid of the children's charity UNICEF. Did Michael Schumacher score? Of course he did. He takes a mean penalty. But it's his teammate Rubens Barrichello who's got to deliver to satisfy all those locals. He heads up a quartet of Brazilian drivers in their own Grand Prix, and the fans ready to wave them home. Order and progress, the inscription reads on the Brazilian flag. Well, the order may sometimes be lacking, but in Formula One, progress has certainly been made. The fans in Brazil have waited a long time to celebrate their driver's success, and the legend of Ayrton Senna still casts a huge shadow over the drivers of today. But in Sao Paulo, the Brazilian Grand Prix gives the new stars a chance to shine.
I like to be here. It's the first time for me. Brazil is a traditional, very good country for in driver's level, and Brazil had Senna, that for me was the best one, so I feel proud to be here. Grand Prix racing is good everywhere in the world, but for us here it's special. It's very good to know that you can leave the track and you are in your country, you know the people, you have your friends around you, your family. It's great.
Just to be part of it and just to feel they cheering and they screaming when you go past, it's unbelievable.
In first place, we are much more together than we ever been. We are friends. I mean, Tarso used to live on the same place as Enrique, so they're closer. I know Luciano better, but we are a good bunch of Brazilian working together, trying to help each other.
Not long ago, I was in the grandstand watching, and was already special to see Senna and Rubens driving. And today, actually, to see him in a position to win the race, and a very strong position to win the race, it's amazing. I know what the people coming here to watch him feels like. So it's pretty special for sure.
And as further on, Pelé is here mixing with fellow countryman Pedro Diniz, now very much involved at Prost. Pelé presented the trophy to the victorious Michael Schumacher last year. He is the German sporting hero. Will they be meeting again in a couple of hours? That's the party piece of the Brazilian Air Force Academy. He's up front. I hate to think what it's like back in economy. You're watching the build-up to the Brazilian Grand Prix. We are live from Sao Paulo. The cars are just coming out. Don't worry, the race is still just over 25 minutes away. Michael Schumacher has also gone quickest in warm-up this morning. He starts on pole. Let's go on a flying lap now, shall we, with Martin Brundle. You're on board with Barrichello's Ferrari.
Let's have a look at Barrichello's qualifying lap. The Ferrari engine working overtime, dragging the car uphill at 190 miles an hour, brake at the 90-metre mark, and bring it down to just 60 miles an hour into the Senna S. A surprisingly big lift there in turn 2, and already into Curva de Sol, turn 3. It's very easy for the car and the driver, and a short back straight, once again up to 185 miles an hour. A gentle slope now down to turn 4, Descida de Largo, turn in early too, and mind the curb on the exit, a little bit bumpy and sweeping through 5. You're heading towards Ferradura up to 175 miles an hour. Don't brake too hard, turn in very early. It's a double apexer, pop over the top of the hill. Rubens fighting the car, not firm on the throttle, and straight into Laranca. And he launches then from there into Pinerino, just 55 miles an hour, still fighting that Ferrari. And a short squirt up the hill, and you stay more to the right than you'd first expect into Bica de Pato. All of the grip is on the inside, a lot of understeer there. He really did not touch the apex. Megullo. Should have been full throttle earlier than that, and now he is 150 miles an hour. Then into Juncao, down to just 60. Curb on the inside, not too much curb on the outside. Every mile an hour extra you take through there, you'll carry with you to the start-finish line. 170 mile an hour sweeping left-handers now, 2 of them, chance to rest your neck. Barrichello's car really not working well through that lap, and not surprisingly, this is now 6th place.
It's 11 years since anyone has won from as low as 6th. That was Alan Prost in his Ferrari. Now, Mark, you've driven here many times. What problems does it pose for the drivers? Just stop you there. Let's have a look. I'm sorry, Mark, because that is Rubens Barrichello, who has had all sorts of problems there. Just came up very smartly behind us. Rubens Barrichello off the track, and a bit like Juan Pablo Montoya yesterday, facing a bit of a run back to the pits.
This is going to be really difficult for Barrichello now. He's got this big long run back to the pits, and he's going to be full of frustration. This is not the time that he needs to be having an upset like this off the racetrack. He's really going to be in a big sweat and a panic. As you can see, look, he's got to find his way back, and it's going to be a big issue.
I think Tony just caught the end of that spin, but if you don't want something to happen at your home Grand Prix, crikey, this is it.
Well, this is terrible for him. He's had a really hard time. He spun out on Friday with falling oil pressure in the car. He's down in 6th place on the grid with terrible understeer, couldn't quite get things right. And this is his kind of dream ticket here, with the 2nd year in a row with the Ferrari, wanting to get it all together. Let's hope he gets back in time to get into that spare car. And of course it could be set up for Michael Schumacher as well, so they'll have to change things over with the seats and the pedals. So Rubens is now going to be tested to his full degree for his fitness, but his temperament's going to be tested as well, Mark, isn't it?
And just briefly, the problems when you actually change and go into another car at this stage.
It's difficult. If it is set up for Schumacher, it's a big workload for the team to change it, but also in his mind, psychologically, he's going to have this issue of driving another car which has not been his race car. It does make a difference, and he's going to have to dig deep now to get out of this.
OK, and of course we'll keep a close eye on that situation in the build-up to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's go live now to Eddie Jordan down there with Louise Goodman. Some very entertaining guests at his birthday party on Friday, and a couple of drivers quite high up the grid as well, Louise.
That's right, Jim. It's difficult to believe, I know, but this man was 53 on Friday. Eddie, we've actually got some pictures of your birthday celebrations. Did you enjoy your birthday?
Well, you couldn't want a better place to have a birthday than Brazil, and I'm sure you're going to show all the nasty photographs for those at home and make my kids go crazy. Dad, you didn't do silly things like that, but that's my birthday in Brazil. It's great.
I don't know that the people back at home would call that nasty, but that's another story. Now, you've actually been having a lot of fun this weekend because you fooled most of the people in the press office today with a press release that you issued about the team moving to Ireland.
Well, it's April the 1st. I mean, really, everyone is so serious about what they're doing here. We decided last night, hey, wait till we have a bit of fun, and we put out a press release saying that everyone was moving to Ireland, that we're going to have this nice hotel for the staff. Even yourself, Louise, you came down looking for a job because, no, it was fun. It was just a prank April Fool, and now it's, of course, much more serious.
Eddie, just a final word. Tell us about this race, because it gets a slating amongst the teams. It is very disorganised. There's a lot of crime here. But what do you think about the atmosphere of the place? For me, that's the saving grace.
Well, you can see by it. I mean, there are two things in South America that are like a passion to everybody, and one is football and the other is motor racing. And Grand Prix racing, this country has developed more and more world champions, whether Piquet or Senna and all these, and that's why it's so special here.
Thanks, EJ.
He's been running throughout that interview. close to 30 degrees. I don't know what it's like inside that suit as well, Mark. It'll be very, very hot work indeed for Rubens Barrichello. The race due off in 20 minutes' time. And just give us a quick feeling about what's going to happen to him now, Mark, when he gets back there.
He's almost going to be at some point of exhaustion because, you know, like the heat's going to be triple inside that helmet and that suit. You can see him like just jogging down there, but he's got to get his mind together. He's got to pull himself into shape. He's got to settle. He's got to make sure that he's going to be prepared for this race. And he's now got a 2-hour Grand Prix ahead of him.
What do you think, Tony?
Well, I'm just thinking of his record here. He's been up there. In '96, he managed to get ahead when he was teammates with Martin Brundle in the wet, and then he lost it and he went off the track. Here in '99, when he was with Jackie Stewart's team, he led again on a one-stop strategy. Superb driver, and he wants to do so badly here. He's going to be upset, and I think because of the Latin temperament, I think he's going to be a little bit irrational, a little bit illogical. Let's hope he can just calm it and cool it and get his act together.
He hasn't got a great record here, Rubens Barrichello. I feel a lot of you watching me want to know the latest on the British Grand Prix at Silverstone in mid-July. The race is very much on, despite the foot and mouth epidemic. I've been talking to Rob Bain, top man at British Motorsport Promoters. He says the race goes ahead unless, of course, Silverstone is closed down. In that eventuality, though, all tickets will be refunded, but some tickets are still available. Very much looks a goer. Good to see Williams up front, isn't it, as we've been saying. Remember, we came in the first year, Jacques Villeneuve won for Williams in his championship year. They've had one or two hard times since then. That BMW engine is now going very well, and this brilliant Colombian there, Juan Pablo Montoya, is right up there, despite a fright in qualifying.
Look at that! Unbelievable! Just a little bit too exuberant. This is exactly what he did not want.
It's the spare car for Montoya. He has not driven that car around this circuit ever until just now, so Williams have some speed.
My car was fast enough to be further up, and just, you know, last two races I was taking it too easy in my first run, and I was losing a lot of time, so I said, just go for it, and I went a bit too far.
He's a massive sporting figure in Colombia, and it is very much as close as he'll get, I guess, to his home Grand Prix. Quite a few supporters here for him as well. Meantime, his teammate Ralf Schumacher produced an absolutely brilliant time in qualifying, his best performance ever of his career for Ralf Schumacher, and he spoke to James Allen about it.
So Ralf Schumacher again pulling out something very special to grab that important front row start slot and a date with his brother. Ralf, I have to ask you though, if you'd been on Bridgestones, do you think you'd have been on pole position today?
To be honest, I don't know, but I don't want to think about it anyway, because we are Michelin, and I think Michelin has done a good job for us, considering that it's their first few races. And even better that there's a lot to come, I guess, so I think we have the better choice.
So you've got your brother alongside you into that first corner, the two Schumachers. There have been a few disagreements in the past where you've run into each other on the track, but what's going to happen in this afternoon's Grand Prix?
You know, I would be happy to see if we had a good, similar start, and I could pull along him for the next corner. We'll see. I mean, obviously my wish is to have a good start and to overtake him into the first corner. If that doesn't happen, at least to be second and see where the race goes.
Do you feel that first win is around the corner for you?
Well, we're getting closer and closer, let's put it that way. We'll see.
Good luck into the first corner.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, they're all talking about that first corner, aren't they, Mark? But Michelin coming back into the sport as Bridgestone's rivals. What an impact they've made already.
They have, and you know, it's only their third race, and everybody now expects them, because they're on the front row, to do even better. But if I were Williams at this point, I'd take a little bit of a different view. I'd maybe let Ralf Schumacher take the normal route with one stop, and the flyer, Montoya, maybe put him on a light load and get two stops in and see if he can charge to the front, let him feel what it's like up there. And then Michelin also can get two lots of data. It's good for the future.
Tony, what do you feel about the tactics in this race?
Well, it's difficult to say. I spoke to Trevor Foster, the managing director of Jordan, before, and he was suggesting they might go on two stops or one stop. But I don't think there's a lot in it between the tyres. They're saying the Michelin likes the heat. They showed that in Malaysia very well. But I think the tyres are pretty much on a par now. It's amazing the way Michelin have caught up. But tremendous improvements from the Williams BMW, and I think we were talking about that before. You know, Gavin Fisher, the aerodynamicist, for example, has done a lot of work on the aero, and they're saying, Juan Pablo Montoya saying, I can feel the difference in the car now.
Just look at this feverish activity going on here on Rubens Barrichello, and all of Brazil will be holding its breath, really. Looking at these pictures, Barrichello's so keen to win here. He's got a miserable record on his home Grand Prix. Just to Tell you what's happened if you're just joining us on ITV. The Brazilian Grand Prix is 15 minutes away, and Barrichello came off really on the formation lap, wasn't it, really? And he's now, time is of the essence. Tony?
Well, the pit lane closes very soon, should close at 1:45. They might just do it. Mark's just looking at his watch there. There's the big chair you can hear coming from the grandstand. Their hero, Rubinho, the guy that was born just on the other side of the circuit here, started racing here at 8 years of age. Last year, they had hydraulic failure in this Ferrari as well. A disappointment, terrible for a racing driver, I think.
This is immense pressure on this guy. I mean, just think about it. Look at the crowd now, they're roaring, but just think he's got it all on his shoulders. Everybody who's here is in a red shirt, and Barrichello's the boy. And I feel for the guy at this point. He's now got to turn it on, and I really hope he does.
And meantime, Herr Schumacher sits very quietly. We know he never sweats, even in this heat. Sits very quietly and watches it all happen around him, Tony.
Well, he came back into the pits because they had plenty of time to do that. So he had the fans pointing on him, the big cooling fans in the cockpit. He went out about 4 minutes before Rubens, and Rubens just made it there because the pit lane is now closed, and you can see Michael Schumacher on the grid now, and he is as cool as a cucumber, whilst Rubens Barrichello in that different helmet now. You can see that special one-off design paying homage to his country, Brazil, and he reckons he's going to throw that into the crowd. If he finishes, will he finish?
That's the big question for Barrichello. I think Martin Brundle might just be down there to have a natter with us down there. Well, go on then, Martin. What drama's there for Rubens Barrichello?
Plenty, isn't there? He's not even on the grid yet, of course. Michael Schumacher has just turned up on the grid, just got out of the car, and his first... Hello, welcome everybody to the grid, by the way. Michael just got out of the car, and his first job was pushing all of the photographers back, making sure that his mechanics had space to work. This is getting traditional now. It's all 3 races this year that Michael has arrived very late on the grid, and of course Rubens is going to be even later. We'll wander over there. I can't imagine for 1 minute Michael's going to talk to us, but let's have a try and see. Here's Willy Webber, who's the manager of the 2 Schumacher brothers. Willy, you got your 2 boys on the front row of the grid. Which one do you want to win?
Well, I have no problem who is winning as long as his name is Schumacher.
Yeah, okay, but you've got to say which one. I mean,
I have no idea.
Okay, which one do you think will win then?
Well, I think end of the day it's Michael.
Okay, good luck. You're having a good day. Let's see if we can catch up with Michael somewhere. He's just wandered off the grid. He's going to climb the wall over there by the looks of it. And Barrichello is now on the grid. I can't imagine either he's going to be up for chat after all of that. Mika. No, Mika, any chance? Just a quickie. How's it looking? Can you win today?
Well, I can win, yes.
Will you win?
We have to wait and see, but we have at the moment the car which is pretty consistent, and hopefully our tactics will be in our side today.
Car looked all right this morning. Are you expecting any rain later?
Yes, I do. You know, our weatherman definitely says it's going to be a raining just before I do my first pit stop.
Okay, so you got your pit stops time for the rain. Good luck. Thanks for talking to us. I wanted to talk to Gerhard Berger. I saw him hovering around here because this is the surprise of the weekend. I'm really happy to tell you that it is a... that's all right, buddy, you know, don't worry about it. I'm really happy to tell you that this is a 6-car race today, and these 2 cars over here on the Michelins, and we really don't know... I'm bumping into Gerhard. I really don't know how well they're going to last. Gerhard, you got a pretty fast engine in the back of the Williams. What about the tyres? Are the Michelins going to be up to it today?
I would say all the package is fast. We have a quite good chassis. Michelin is doing a brilliant job, I have to say. But again, now it's race, not qualifying, and we are looking to get some points.
You think this is a 1-stop race or a 2-stop race to win it?
3 stops.
3 stops, yeah. You're expecting some problems, yeah. So do you think there's a chance today to win this race for Ralph, for example? And Montoya could have been on the front row if he didn't fall off the road.
No, I don't think we are ready to win races. I think Ferrari is very, very strong. McLaren is strong. I think we are progressing. We are coming closer. But we're still going to take a bit more time.
All right, you must be happy to see your car in the front row. Well done. I don't know if Ralph has arrived back on the grid at the moment. He disappeared just as we went live on air. Let's just take you down quickly to the Barrichello car. He's down in P6. When we showed you the lap of his car earlier on, you could clearly see he wasn't doing well. He had an engine problem that stopped him coming to the grid on time. were just, look at the number of people working on this car. Andy, can you see that? They're obviously changing all of the interior, all of the pedals to, clearly the car was set up for Michael Schumacher, and that is normally 7 to 8 minutes to change that over, because it's seat belts. Hi Guy, how you doing? It's seat belts, it's pedals, it's all of the padding, it's everything. Rubens is still wearing his crash helmet. He's not obviously going to be in talkative mode, but just come in here and then just see the drama that's going on. And can you get in there? I mean, total and utter chaos. How a man can keep his mind together with his home crowd here. The crowd are just fantastic at this place, as ever, with all of this going on around him. He's just calmly trying to talk to his engineer and just keep his head together. Now he's got to meet somebody. Look at this. Look, now he's got to say hello to somebody. I can't imagine who the lady with a rather lot of rips in her coat has managed to meet Rubens Barrichello. That's astonishing. That's Naomi Campbell, of course, but that's astonishing. He's got to actually meet and greet people. Naomi, what did he say to you?
Who?
Rubens.
Nothing. I've not spoken to him before. He's a sweetheart.
He just wanted to come and sort of say good luck. Do you know he broke down on the warm-up lap?
No, he didn't, did he?
Yeah, he did. He had to run.
Break down the one since we're doing the best.
Yeah, well, when you have days like that, normally that's the day you go forward and win, but good to
I
talk
think
to you.
Brazil was a great Grand Prix.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a good place to come to. Good to
see you later, you too.
Thank you very much. No, I haven't met this lady. Sorry, I don't know who the lady is. I'm really sorry. I'll find out for next time. Well, I think that's enough from the grid. Back to you in the studio.
Great stuff down there, Martin. Thank you very much indeed. Naomi Campbell proving you always see more on the telly. Stand by, though, for a little piece of Formula One history. Two brothers, the Schumachers, Michael and Ralph, starting a Grand Prix from the front row. What will Rubens Barrichello do here after all those dramas? If recent history is anything to go by, the winner here at Interlagos goes on to... It's the Brazilian Grand Prix live from Sao Paulo, only on ITV. Your pit reporters are Louise Goodman and Ted Kravitz. Murray Walker isn't with us. This is the first of 5 races that Murray is missing in his farewell season. So alongside Martin Brundle in the commentary box, a special welcome to James Allen.
Well, there's only one place in the world we could be today. The crowd have been in here since 7 o'clock this morning, banging their drums, doing Mexican waves, shouting, you name it. It's colourful, it's noisy, and like the potent cocktail they serve here called caipirinha, it's an assault on all your senses. The crowd's nerves have certainly been tested already. Just before the race, Rubens Barrichello, the race car broke on his formation lap. He had to run back to the pits and made it out just 30 seconds before the pit lane exit closed in the spare car. Great deal of work going on the grid on Rubens' car as we speak. The mechanics will have to clear the grid shortly, though. We've got 3 minutes and 40 seconds until we get going with this Brazilian Grand Prix. So, what kind of race is in prospect? Well, the first thing you need to know is that just 1/10 of a second separates 2nd and 6th on the grid. Yes, folks, it's that close. The second thing is that it's Williams and not McLaren who are posing the biggest threat to Ferrari here today. Ralf Schumacher lining up alongside his brother. And just a few moments ago, we saw Ralf and Michael shaking hands on the grid, wishing each other luck. Tremendous amount of brotherly spirit between these two, but they have had their run-ins in the past. I think back to Nürburgring in 1997. Ralf took Michael out at the start into the first corner by mistake. As 3 minutes now until the formation lap, he took him out by mistake, and in fact that probably ended Michael's chances of winning the 97 World Championship. Certainly put him on the back foot and gave the advantage to Villeneuve. Ralph told a very amusing story yesterday when I caught up with him and had a chat. Apparently when they used to kart race against each other, Michael would specialise in getting very close up behind Ralph if he was leading and pulling off his exhaust pipe deliberately just to put him out. So will they put each other out into the first corner? Time will tell, but for sure it will not want that kind of embarrassment. We heard Willy Weber, the manager of both of the two Schumacher brothers, and what a wealthy man and what a perceptive man he certainly is. We heard him say he thought that Michael was the favourite today. That's certainly the way that most of us here in Sao Paulo at Interlagos in the paddock feel this race should be Michael's unless he has some kind of problem, but it really is very, very close indeed, and you can see on the grid just how close it was in qualifying between P2 and P6 in particular. But look, the two Jordans are very close as well, and then we have the Saubers going very strongly as well in the top 10. Juan Montoya worth watching out for. We heard Mark Blundell in the build-up to the race saying he thought that Williams might try 2 stops with Montoya. And, well, that would certainly be worth watching. It is possible to pass cars. Look at the sweat on Rubens Barrichello's face. He really, really will be pumped up, and he'll be ready for this, definitely. It'll certainly give him a charge. Terribly disappointed he was yesterday to qualify a lowly 6th place. Had terrible understeer on that Ferrari, whereas Michael Schumacher sailed serenely on. But after grabbing his 7th consecutive pole position yesterday, Michael said, quote, "This winning streak must end soon." Well, it's pretty fatalistic words from Michael. Will it end here today? Well, on paper, Martin, you would have to say only a problem would stop him.
Yes, I thought he was tempting fate also in a press release yesterday, saying, "I'm pleased to have my little brother on the front row. We know each other so well. We won't crash together." And I think that's very much tempting fate. But clearly, every time I go on that grid, it always surprises me just how steep the hill is that they climb up just after the start, and this grid is in a dip, in a bowl, so you're either rolling downhill or rolling backwards if you're nearer the front of the grid, and it is a tricky start, and you do tend to have a lot of problems, and it's impossible for those two brothers to try to choreograph the first corner, especially with Häkkinen just behind them.
It was an excellent grid walk. You got very close to the tension on Rubens Barrichello. What did it feel like down the grid?
Well, it was amazingly tense. I couldn't believe how calm Rubens was, and then having to meet and greet people all at the same time. I mean, this is the day job. Looks like there's a problem down there for the Jaguar crew as well, and we are now just 10 seconds away from the green light, so that will automatically be a penalty for whichever Jaguar that was. I suspect it was Bertie's car, and a problem then already for the mechanics are now off the track. Of course, they're all standing to the side, but